Hey guys, this is Marshall Kirby from Orchard Hill Farm Equipment. Today we're in the showroom. We're going to go over some of the top steps into making sure your tractor is going to start for you this winter. A lot of people rely on a four-wheel drive tractor for their snow removal business or landscape business. And in order to get your jobs done every day, you need the tractor to be able to start. There's some main things that we have laid out here which we're going to go through today. That's going to help make sure and assure you that your tractor is going to start for you when you rely on it. And we're going to talk about some do's and don'ts in the winter seasons, or maybe in any season per se, to make sure your tractor will again keep itself running. We'll start by this battery right here. This is just a standard MTP-24 interstate battery, something we commonly see in a tractor about this size, in the 30 to 50 horsepower range. Something will run like this. You always want to make sure, in the winter months especially, that your battery is fully charged. It's always a good idea to take a tester and check it, hook it up to a trickle charge if you haven't used your tractor in a long time, or if you haven't changed your battery in a long time, say 5 years or more, maybe it's time to just get rid of that old battery and change it out. So keep in mind, if your battery is weak, the tractor's probably not going to want to turn over when it's 10 degrees out too well. Next we're going to talk about is this white bottle here. This is called Power Service, and this is a supplement with Ceatine Boost and Winterizer / Antigel. And Winterizer and Antigel is a pretty important thing in the, especially here in New England or in the northern states. The weather gets really cold, but some days in the middle of it we have a 30-degree day where it's sunny out and things start melting. So what we have is the moisture content is constantly rising and lowering in your fuel tank. Your fuel tank is going to condense water and create basically a type of drippage off the sidewall of your fuel tank. So number one is run this in your fuel. However, don't run too much or you can possibly hurt the tractor. We have done one injector pump on a tractor many, many moons ago where the customer had 95% this in his fuel tank and only about 10% diesel fuel. Once we had that tested, we realized really quick why the injection pump went bad. So don't use too much of this. It gives you a little recommendation on the side of this. This treats up to 100 gallons. So as we can see here, this is only 32 fluid ounces. Not really a whole lot in this bottle. Maybe 2 shot glasses for every 5-gallon pail you fill up. And then next thing we're going to talk about is going to be this other type right here. This is called a 911, diesel 911. And it's only for winter emergencies. Now, I don't expect people to run this year-round because if you do, you're really not needing it. And this is for those times when you are actually gelled up. And yes, if you use this, other stuff we talked about here, you can still gel up your tractor. So don't think that that can't happen because it totally can. It's all about what Mother Nature is going to throw at us. This is going to help prevent it. While this, if you do get a gel up, is going to be that last-minute resort. Before you say, screw it, I can't get the tractor started, you're going to take this, either pour it in the fuel filter and screw the fuel filter back on or put it in the fuel tank and hope that you can get that thing started. Sometimes you're really desperate, you will pour half this bottle right into the fuel tank or something like that. This helps to ungel everything as quickly as possible. However, again, it's not going to be a 100% effective thing, but it will definitely be a good shot at getting your tractor back up and running if you need it to. Next over there we have some different types of block heaters. So I'll come over here and we'll talk about these. So this is a magnetic block heater. You can find these on Amazon, you can find these online, or just right here at your local tractor dealership. We always usually stock these. This one is a 200 watt, 120 volt setup. It's a big old magnet that magnetizes to either the side of the block, the bottom of the transmission, or maybe the oil pan on the engine to keep everything warm. And you plug it in, say, an hour before use. It really heats up everything, so just to give you that good warm startup when it's very cold out. And will help keep all the fluids warm, so the startup is better for the tractor overall, internal, and just going to give you a better startup overall. Next we will talk about the other style of block heater here, which is inside this box, and I'll take it out. It's just a small little system. This is what we call an actual inline block heater. This is an OEM Coyote one. Very, very common. Goes in like a freeze plug area, heats up the antifreeze before we start the tractor and gets everything warmed up. These usually take a little bit more install time, so you can usually factor these being a little bit more expensive. However, you know, we're only talking 50, 100 bucks here. I mean, we're not talking life and death scenario, so pretty cheap all the way around. It will be better for your engine in the extreme cold, so if you're in the areas that do get weather of 10 degrees or less, probably not a bad idea to get one of these, especially if your tractor's being left outside. Even if it's in a garage without heat, it's probably not a bad idea to have one. Pretty cheap insurance policy. Again, going to help you start that tractor up pretty well. One thing I don't have out here, and I just thought of it in the middle of the video that I wish I had out here, something called a glow plug, which are a replaceable item over time. And those, I don't have any to show you today, but those are probably the most important thing out of anything here. If your glow plugs are not working and you have a diesel engine tractor or diesel engine anything per se, good luck starting it in weather below 30 or 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So make sure make sure that they're running good, your glow plugs, because if they're not, and say they're 15 years old, maybe you've used them too much, maybe it's time to go ahead and have them tested by your local tractor dealership or mechanic, and maybe it's time to replace them. They are expensive, they're not just $10 a pop. They can be 50 to 100 bucks each. So an expensive item to replace, but on a 3-cylinder, you only got 3 of them, so maybe 150, 200 bucks in parts to replace them. And trust me, it will make a day and night difference if they are bad. However, you should not be replacing them commonly. If you're replacing them every 2 years, you got a major problem. So something that every 10, 15 years, maybe, go ahead and replace those. Lastly, we're going to talk about is another really important thing in starting the tractor in the wintertime is fuel filters. On the left-hand side here, I have a Coyote, just standard fuel filter. It's a paper cartridge. These guys are going to go bad pretty quickly because it's thin paper. And in New England with the hot and cold, the moisture content and the diesel these days isn't that amazing, to be honest. So you want to clean these out. However, when I mean clean them out, you're going to take this thing out, throw it in the trash, get a new one. These can be, found for between $5 and $15, depending on their size, generally, somewhere in that range. And sometimes can even cross over to like a Napa filter or something like that. And as long as it's just a paper cartridge, so there's no specifics on needing to buy an OEM filter. These are pretty simple, generic fuel filters. Easy to replace, 10 minutes of your time, will help start your tractor that much quicker. Last one is this other style fuel filter. This is a Dadong or Coyote fuel filter. They create their own fuel system, so they have their own fuel filters. And this is much like an actual oil filter, an engine oil filter. It's basically a giant oil filter that they use for the fuel. This sometimes has a water separator on the bottom. Right now, Coyote started coming out with a sight glass to tell you if your fuel is gelled up. It's going to show you in that sight glass how dirty the fuel is or watery, which is awesome. These screw off and can be thrown out as well and put a new one on. These are a lot more expensive because they're a big filter, specific filter, whereas these are paper, and can be thrown out every year. I expect these in New England to last once, require change at least once a year, sometimes 2 if the weather's really that bad. So good idea to have a couple of these on hand. These guys usually in New England, if it's a really bad year, maybe once a year. However, sometimes we see these go 2 years, 2.5 years at most, and then generally you change them and you'll be good to go again. So any of these items, if you're having trouble starting up your tractor this winter or any time per se, even in the summertime, any of these things are going to help that diesel engine warm up and start up better. So thanks guys. This is Marshall Kirby from Orchard Hill Farm Equipment, and we just went over some, I think it was, 6, 7 things to help start your tractor this winter. If those don't help start your tractor, well, I don't know what will, because these are the main things you need to get your tractor up and running. Follow us on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube, of course. As you can see, even in the showroom, we always got the TV going with YouTube videos to show our customers. And we're one of New England's largest Mahindra dealers, and we are the longest selling Coyote dealer in the Northeast. So check us out. We got over 120 tractors in stock. If we can help you out, give us a call, 413-253-5456. Thanks, guys.